Welcome, kings and queens. It is another episode of All in Society. Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. Welcome. I'm your host, CP2. Today's show, we will discuss the NFL top five. I give you my breakdown of the top five NFL teams in the season so far. We do this on a week-by-week basis. It has nothing to do with what happened last season. It has everything to do with what's happening on a week-by-week basis. We'll also talk about the pending Brazil game that may be on the cards, and the teams and the owners might have made a decision on the games today as we speak. We'll also break down some NBA news that is definitely heartwarming and touching to myself, and we'll discuss a little bit of the stock market, some important news I think you guys should be aware of, especially when we talk about the Fed and how they impacted the markets today and how that might affect you and your family. So thank you for joining me on another episode. This is season 2, episode number 23. This episode is going to be titled Netflix Top 5, and we'll discuss exactly why it's titled that momentarily here. But as always, if you're first time enjoying the show, watching the show, most importantly, please subscribe, share with your friends and family, leave a comment, even if you like it, even if you hate it. But if you took the time out of your day, and that's the one thing that is most precious to us all, right, is time. So if you took a minute, 30 seconds, if I was able to capture your attention for that short amount of time, please subscribe, share with your friends and family. I truly appreciate it. But this is going to be your daily dose of sports, business, and trending topics. I'll try to release at least 3 episodes per week for y'all every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. For everything that I do and all the products and services that I will be rolling out next year, you can catch everything on my website. It is www.allinsociety.com. But it's ALLNSOCIETY.com. And if you're not aware, on YouTube, also on Facebook, if you're friends with me on Facebook, I have a live show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and I would love for you to join me in the virtual world on my show, either on YouTube or on Facebook, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Jump in the chat. We'll pretty much have the same type of topics that we're discussing today. But for this podcast, I'll typically try to go see a movie once a week. Unfortunately, I get a chance to go see a movie this week, so check out the previous episodes. Most recently, I saw the movie Thanksgiving and Eileen. So check those movies out. In these shows, I'll basically let you know if you guys should go stream it, or you should, let me correct that, if you should stay home and stream it on your favorite streaming platform, or go to the big screen. It's a date night. Go see it in theaters. I'm all about saving money for everybody and helping you guys make money as well. So I'll also be providing information on here that hopefully put some dollars in your pocket. And if you want to dive in really deep into what I do on a daily basis and how I make a living, you can check out the Patreon, which we might discuss a little bit later depending on how much time we have in the episode. All right, but thank you for getting through all that with me. But definitely check out All in Society and Friends, my live show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. All right, first up, let's get into NFL top 5. All right, we're going to go break down. Now, I don't go into full detail what happened in the games, but I'll give you my top 5. And I feel like if I need to defend myself and elaborate a little bit further, I will. And I'll probably need to do that on number 5 team. And you can probably guess who that is. I got the hat on. I got Barry chilling in the back. Y'all, I didn't do Barry right. I don't know if you can see it because of the mic, but this shelf it's kind of hanging a little bit like this. And I was doing a little cleaning behind here and I knocked Barry off. I don't know if you can see the crack here. So Barry's hanging on by a thread. That's his base. So one more drop like that, Barry might not be May not be here anymore, so I got to definitely take care of my guy. Hopefully, I don't drop him again. But let's get into the top five NFL top five. All right, number one, I have the 49ers, and I don't think anybody has another team at the top of their list outside of the 49ers. They just recently beat the Seattle Seahawks. Even week before then, they beat the Philadelphia Eagles decisively. 49ers, if you watch any of the shows previously, I've disclosed that they are my Super Bowl pick before the season started. I took advantage of some of those free bets at the mini sports books that I rolled out past year, 2 years or so were offering. So I punished them. Well, I shouldn't say I punished them. Nothing set in stone. But I definitely got some good odds for those 49ers to win the Super Bowl. So I'm very excited about that. Number two, I have the Ravens. They beat the Rams recently. Uh, right now, after the 49ers, I'm really looking for all around teams that have good defense and decent offense. And Ravens fits that criteria. Their offense, I don't necessarily trust Lamar Jackson if he has to throw the ball or those receivers. But their defense is sound and they know how to run the game. Excuse me. And Lamar Jackson knows how to win a game. But as far as taking them to the Super Bowl and winning a AFC championship, I don't know about that. But I have them at number two right now. Number three, have the Cowboys after beating Eagles at home pretty decisively. Uh, I don't I don't trust the Cowboys to put them ahead of the Ravens, and I kind of wanted to put an NFC team and an AFC team at the top two. So Cowboys fall to number two. They've had a pretty good season so far, but this was their best win at home against the Eagles, against a divisional opponent. More than likely, these teams were going to split this season, so I'm not necessarily too impressed. I'd be more shocked if they lost that game. That would really kind of show us where Dallas is after losing to Philly earlier this season. Because they haven't, the teams they beat, they're not too impressive. So I think number three, even after beating the Eagles, um, is fair for the Cowboys right now. Number four, I have the Eagles after losing to the Cowboys. They've been in the top two, top three pretty much throughout the whole season, but I had to bump them down to number four after that loss. They've had a grueling schedule, so I'd like to see them bounce back, and I think they will bounce back and get ready for the playoffs. And number five, even after losing to the Bears, I have the Detroit Lions. And looking at the standings, and I'm going to pull up the standings right now as we speak, there's there's quite a few teams that are just in that range that you could put as number five. And I looked at everybody, and so you have Miami, Detroit, Kansas City, Chiefs, Jacksonville Jaguars, and if you wanted to add the Cleveland Browns, you can add the Browns in there too. All could arguably be number five. Miami, I they haven't beat a team. They've been beating on below 500 or below teams. They haven't really, when it's time for them to play the big boys, the contenders, they haven't shown up. So I don't necessarily trust Miami. Detroit has a little bit better resume than Miami, I believe. Kansas City, they're struggling. We've never seen Patrick Mahomes react like he did on the sideline, right? So I think there's worries there. Any of these teams, like the Ravens and like the Cowboys, they'll be able to shut down Kelsey or at least hold them in check enough to win that game. Their offense is strong enough, and their defense is going to be decent enough, I believe, to keep Kelsey in check in order to win that game. Because Kansas City's wide receivers are trash, and I've been saying that all season long, not just past couple weeks, all season long. The first game against Detroit, I noticed it, and I was like, yeah, this isn't going to get better in time. So definitely missing a player like Tyreek Hill, right? Jacksonville Jaguars, I just don't. I think they're just not there yet. Trevor Lawrence, although I'm hoping for him to do well because I have a best ball team with him on it, ETN on that team as well. Also has quite a few. I have Jared Goff, Montgomery, and Gibbs on that team. So I'm kind of heavy. The teams that were on the top of the league as far as offense, but those teams have been falling off, and some of the teams that play this week are tough defenses. So I gotta, if I can move ahead in this best ball league, that would be a miracle. But who knows? Anything can happen. It's any given Sunday. But with all that being said, I just think Detroit's the this is crazy to say this, the most all around team, most complete team out of these teams in this bunch. The Detroit defense is arguably the worst out of all of these teams that I just named. But their offense, I believe, is more consistent as long as Goff can just stop turning the ball over. But a lot of his turnovers have been against division opponents like the Bears and the Packers. So I'm hoping that it's just division opponents know how he plays, and they have the blueprint to beat us, to beat Detroit. So, like I said, right now I have Detroit at number five. I don't know how long they're going to stay at number five though. Earlier this season, after they lost to like a 500 or below team, I said I wouldn't put them back in the top five again. But here we are with them in my top five. Moving on to the Brazil game. The NFL is considering a 2024 regular season game in Brazil, and the decision could be made today. I hadn't followed up after reading up on this story earlier today, so I wanted to present that to you guys. If you want to read up more on the story, at least in the article that I read, it's from ESPN, and I will post it in the description. A little bit of NBA news. As I said, it's news that it's important to me because I live in the DMV area, and Ted Leonsis, owner of the Washington Wizards and Capitals, announced plans to move the team to Alexandria, Virginia's Potomac Yard. Just a little backdrop. I moved here in 2016. I'm originally from Michigan. Moved here in 2016. In 2018-2019 NBA season, I had season tickets to the Washington Wizards. Unfortunately, that season they didn't really do anything. I don't remember if they even made the playoffs. If they did, they got bounced the first round. And so obviously that was disappointing. But I just remembered the fact that now I used to, like I said, I grew up in Michigan, so going to see the Pistons, it wasn't really close to my house, but it was just a ride down the highway and back, maybe 30, 45 minutes with traffic. But going into driving from Southern Maryland into DC, it's just a pain in the butt, and taking the metro is not something that I don't feel safe, to be quite honest. Going into DC, taking the metro. One of the last times I took the metro, I've taken it before, but someone thought it was funny to put firecrackers in the fireworks in the metro, and went off, and it sounded like gunshots, and that literally terrified me. And I'm not from a big city. I'm not saying you're from a big city, so you're used to hearing gunshots, but I'm just not accustomed to being in the big city. I don't necessarily feel comfortable being in big cities like DC. The traffic congestion. I just like to be in small cities, get in, get out, paying for parking and things like that. It's a pain in the ass, to be quite honest. And so when I saw and I heard the team might be moving and not too far to Alexandria, Virginia, which is a beautiful area, I was all for it. And I know some of you that are residents and long-term season ticket holders, and maybe DC residents might hate this news, but for somebody who was not born and raised in this area and just wants to enjoy a game without the hassle and bustle, there's still going to be traffic. No, I understand that, but just going in and out of DC, I am super ecstatic that potentially there's an option for a better facility and what I believe better location. But let's dive deeper into it. The project will span 70 acres, including new headquarters for Monumental Sports. State of the art arena for both teams, the Washington Capitals and Washington Wizards. Monumental Sports Network Media Studio. Practice facilities, performing arts venue, and enhanced esports facility. The move is set for 2028, but the proposal is yet to be finalized, so there's still some details to finalize. The plan would include revitalizing the existing Capital One Arena to become the Washington Mystics' primary home, So Mystics, they moved, I believe, across the river someplace. I haven't been to the game, so I don't have a lot of information on it. But it sounds like they want to update the Capital One and then allow the Mystics to play there, and I think that's a great idea. WNBA and women's sports, just in general, seem to be booming recently, and probably betting sports is a main reason for that, I would imagine. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the sports news. Now we're going to go into a little bit of a heavier topic, but not too heavy. So we're going to discuss the market talk, and specifically stock market and just overall business news. First up, the Federal Reserve held rates steady at 5.25 to 5.5%. And also, we got a little bit of a Christmas present today, early Christmas present we received by the Fed. The committee announced at least three rate cuts in 2024, more aggressive than previously indicated. And if you guys are not familiar with the Federal Reserve and like how the rates affect your daily lives and things, I encourage you to kind of just Google and do your own research. It's definitely something you should be mindful of. I'm not saying that, and this is just like just in the basic level. You should just be aware of macroeconomics and in things that are going on in the world, like the war, anything that might just affect our daily lives, like such as interest rates and things like that, mortgage rates. If you're looking to purchase a home, things like this are all tied together and affected. So I understand not everybody wants to listen to the news or watch the news. A lot of times, a lot of negative stories, a lot of killing and things like that. But there are things on there that are definitely important. And so if you don't like watching the news and you just want to kind of like get the most important stuff and the like the juicy facts, well, I encourage you to continue watching the show because that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Just give you the good stuff that I hear, not necessarily just locally where I am, but how it's affecting everybody wherever you live. So that's really what I'm trying to do, and I hope you enjoyed this segment, even though some of the stories are just kind of like boring, but they are information that we all should be know and be aware of. So for more information on this, it's a CNBC article. I will post the links in the episode description. All right, getting to the headline and title of the episode, Netflix, What We Watched Report. This is also a CNBC article I got this from, so you can also click the link and you'll definitely want to check this out if you're a Netflix fan. The streaming service finally provided some transparency, and by rank, it ranked all of its shows and movies over the past 6 months. Netflix will release updated reports every 6 months going forward. And that top five includes number one. And before, I'm not a big Netflix guy. I watch You on there and I watch Ozark and a couple other shows every once in a while. But I don't have Netflix. I don't have a Netflix subscription. I use YouTube TV. I don't watch a lot of movies and things like that outside of going to the big screen, to the theaters. Um, I've already said a couple takes on Netflix. I think if you own the stock, more power to you, especially if you got in a great price. But me, I just think that they're due for a big decline soon. I just don't believe that they're going to be able to continue to churn out decent enough content or shows that are going to keep all those viewers that they just recently grabbed, because they kicked off people that weren't paying for the service and they were kind of sharing passwords, and now those people are paying. I think that they're going to lose a lot of those paying customers, because if you weren't paying for it before, why would you continue to paying for it? Unless you're really providing some type of value. And just for me, I just don't think that Netflix provide that value. That's my take. Let me know in the comments if there's good shows on there outside of the shows that we're going to discuss here in just a moment. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I just don't think they're going to stay at the top. I start to think that Netflix, their story is changing. They were saying they won't be doing this, and that. They're doing this, that, and this and that. I know that sounded crazy, but the things they said they weren't going to start dabbling into, they're starting to do. So, and I think they're doing that for a reason. They're trying to find ways to gain our attention and keep our attention. And I think that's going to be very difficult. People think if you think the Disney movies and Disney Plus is just going to be down at the dumps forever, you are ill informed. Disney has the most powerful and the greatest IP in the world. They have the best stories, and I think it was Wall Street Trapper that said this. And he said, "How often do you think your kids are going to continue watching those old Disney movies and stories until the end of time? Why would things change all of a sudden now? You think there's going to be no new stories that are going to be developed and capture our audience? No, they don't. Those stories, remember, like Family Matters, Fresh Prince, um, Saved by the Bell, all those '90s shows, that even some of those shows that give you like taught us about life and things, those shows are non-existent. They're not coming back because those things aren't gathering and garnering our attention. It's a lot of the BS that's on TV now that's getting our attention. So yeah, I just thought that was pretty asinine to think that there's a possibility. Now, it's a possibility, it's for sure. But to think that our children and our children's children won't be watching Cinderella, Lion King, Aladdin, all of those classic movies that we grew up on, we're going to want to share those with our children. Maybe I'm wrong, like I said, but I don't think that's changing anytime soon. And I believe Disney is just reinventing itself right now, much like that I'm doing myself. And there's nothing wrong with reinventing yourself. There's going to be a little bit of some rough patches, what I call the storm, that you're going to have to go through. But if you have a great foundation, which Disney does, they're going to be right back on top. Uh, but that's just my take on Disney. Now let's get back to Netflix and the top five. So number one, basically ranked show. I believe this is as far as viewership is The Night Agent season one. Number two, Ginny and Georgia season two. Number three, The Glory season one. Number four, now I watched this, Wednesday season one. I binge watched that. That was a real awesome show. And number five, Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story. So let me know in the comments. Are you surprised by the list? You can find a link in the episode details for the entire list. They literally rank pretty much all of the shows that are on available on Netflix. So if you want to take the time to look at that, definitely check it out. All right, moving on. We have two more stories. Apple's stolen device protection. This is also another CNBC story. Apple to release a new security mode for iPhones that can protect users when thieves and other attackers learn the user's private passcode. And reading this article, the way that some of these attackers or prey are gathering your passcodes, ladies, be careful. Do not be careful. Number one, I'm sure your mother and your father have told you that. Never, if you're out at the bar, if you're out in public, never leave your drink unattended, ladies. Never. My parents told me this as a man. You're out in public, you don't know these people's intentions. You don't know the random people around you, especially when there's alcohol that's getting involved. So be very careful, and just be careful what you're doing with your your phones. If don't leave it just face up for anybody to see. If you never know who's watching, who's looking over your shoulder, especially if you're at a busy bar. And these people are just waiting. They pick your pocket. They're waiting for you to get caught off guard to steal your belongings and everything. So it's crazy out there. Be careful. But getting back to the passcode, the setting will use the device's location to determine whether the user is at home or work. If the user is at an unfamiliar location, then the mode will require Face ID in addition to a passcode to perform sensitive actions such as checking or changing passcodes or passwords. Stolen device mode can be turned on under Face ID and passcode, stolen device protection for those who have the latest developer beta of iOS 17.3. So if you want more details on that, check out the link in the episode description. And last but not least, Tesla recalls 2 million cars. Yes, 2 with an M, million. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said Tesla's method of ensuring drivers are still paying attention while the driver assistance system is activated is insufficient. Tesla will send out a software update to fix the problems affecting its 2012 to 2023 Model S, 2016 to 23 Model X, and 2017 to 2023 Model 3, and the 2020-2023 Model Y vehicles. Tesla typically handles software recalls through remote updates, meaning customers do not have to return the vehicles to a service center. So that's a relief, right? You'll be able to just do it, quick software update, and it should be good. But if any of you guys are Tesla owners, or you plan on purchasing a Tesla, what do you think about this? I'd love to know what you think in the comments. All right, real quick, I wanted to discuss the Patreon. So, like I said, if you guys are looking to join a community of go-getters or people who pay attention to macroeconomic themes and stories, and they use that information either to invest or just to live their daily lives, live an educated and informed daily life, then you'll probably want to join All in Society's VIP All Access community on Patreon. So it'll be launching in January 2024. It's a $50 subscription. $50, it's monthly subscription. You can cancel anytime. I guarantee you guys are getting $50 worth of value. And if you say, well, I don't have $50, but I would love to join the community of like-minded go-getters, I always believe that we're always spending money unnecessarily, whether that's clothes that we have in our closet that we haven't worn, or clothes that we've worn but we didn't need to purchase in the first place because we have 1,000 pairs of jeans in our closet already. Jewelry, electronics, things like that. And I'm not trying to find excuses for you guys to find ways to give me $50, but if you're like myself, one of the very few people, and you look around your peers, and I don't mean that by any disrespect, but they're not going anywhere. The same thing that they were doing 5 years ago, they're still doing today, and it's not anything productive. If you want to break from the chains of some of your closest friends, and a lot of the times that's exactly what it is. If I put you in a room of 10 millionaires, I guarantee you're going to learn something, and you'll probably be able to pick up something, not become a millionaire, but get damn near close to it. Whereas if I put you in a room with a bunch of 10 people that are just kind of mediocre, they're not go-getters, they have really no ambition, no drive, you're going to more than likely end up just like them or become frustrated if you have somebody that you're driven and you strive for more and you're thirsty for knowledge, but those people just want to party and have a good time, right? And a good way for me to give you a great example, I play poker tournaments, and one of the poker tournaments, well, majority of the poker tournaments, I would basically travel by myself. The events that I traveled with another poker player or a group of poker players, I always did better. Why do you think that is? Because we were always together, we were talking, and I was able to learn and improve my game. Whereas if I was just kind of by myself, I'm just kind of stuck in my own mind and not really able to bounce ideas off of each other and get better in real time. So it's essentially just like that. So I'm going to be here, and my job is to facilitate the conversations, provide industry experts, just like some of the podcast episodes and All in Society and Friends. Check out those episodes. I have had authors on, have had poker players on, business consultants, real estate industry experts. I'm talking to a couple of individuals in media industry to come on and share some insights with us. So a vast variety, vast majority of a diverse group of individuals who are go-getters and are really moving the needle, and they're doing something with their lives. And I'm not saying that your friends and your family and other people who may just be kind of plateaued and stagnant aren't doing anything with their lives. I'm sure they're wonderful people, and I'm sure they have, families and raising children and doing wonderful things. But if you're just like maybe that 1% or that very small percentage of people that have that entrepreneurial mindset and want to strive to have a little bit more, create generational wealth, create passive income, then this is a community that is for you. So definitely tap in, connect with a powerhouse community of go-getters, flaunt exclusive swag that we have rolling out next year that we're working on currently, and join us for upcoming live events. A lot of those live events are going to be tailored around poker tournaments that I'll be traveling to throughout this year. And the easy way to do that, and I'm not trying to get you guys to gamble, but there's a casino literally almost every state now. So it's a great way for me to just kind of travel. I can travel, play cards, and then meet you guys in your hood, in your neighborhood, in your environment. And you can meet me in my environment at the casino and the poker rooms if that's not necessarily your cup of tea. But I'm just gonna leave you with this tidbit. Now, I believe I said something about this in the last episode. The poker room is the best place in the world to network. It's full of people from vast backgrounds and varieties, by varieties, I mean diverse backgrounds, as far as different industries and just demographics. And majority of those people, they have disposable income. So just think about it. If you have a business or just somebody who just wants to just kind of get out the house, be entertained, but also maybe to network and find some people to move your life forward. Now, mind you, you're gonna have to navigate the landmines. There's a lot of people there that they're not good people. It's a casino, so there's a lot of folks there that they're up to no good and they're on their last dollar. And no respect for anybody who's hard times and wants to gamble, but there's other ways to kind of to get ahead, and I don't think gambling's what you want to do if times are hard. But yes, if you want to join this community, make sure you head to Patreon website. If you're not familiar with Patreon, it's essentially like you go to a Facebook page and you want to view your friend's Facebook page. Everything's free, right? But maybe a Facebook page, there's like premium content, and you have to pay for that premium content. That's essentially what Patreon is. So download the Patreon app and stay tuned for more details if this is something that sounds intriguing to you. I hope it definitely does, and I would love to see you in the community. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully I provided some value for you. You took something away from this podcast episode. Definitely stay tuned for the Patreon. I am working on that as we speak to make sure A, we have a nice group to begin with, and B, that we got some content, some things to get into to start the year that's going to move the needle and be productive for us. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see y'all on Friday. Wonka review will be Friday's episode. Wonka, the movie Wonka. I cannot wait for this one. So stay tuned for that. I'll see y'all later. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Peace.